Okej, jest. Już powinno być. Działa, wszystko działa. YouTube jeszcze szybko. Mieć podgląd trzeba. Chwila. I numer 3, dobra. Tutaj no, mam na achievementy, a tu na naszą grę. Okay.
Help me, please! Help me! Don't let them find me in the street after curfew. They'll take me to the refugee camp. Help me, please! But don't make any noise. There's...
But what is it you need me to do?
It's almost curfew. I need a place to sleep. I need a place to hide, or they'll send me to the refugee camp. Don't you understand?
What is all this about a curfew?
At curfew, the soldiers want the streets cleared. And the way they see it, if you're out on the street after curfew, it means that you've got nowhere to go. You don't have a home. You don't belong here. And that makes you a rat. And so they take you to the refugee camp. I can't go to the camp.
You need a roof over your head, and you don't have anywhere to go.
I used to, but it doesn't exist anymore. I owned an apartment a few blocks from here. The block was badly damaged by the Great Wave, but it was still standing.
And what happened to your home?
This morning we had to evacuate the area in a hurry. We ran out in the streets with whatever we had on. Apparently, the foundation was starting to crumble. And a few hours later, all that was left of my home was a pile of smoking rubble, with 40 years of memories buried beneath it. But I can't let them take me to the camp. I need to get into another house before the curfew. Please, help me.
Okay, give me those bolt cutters. I'll see what I can do.
This house is empty, but if I can just get this padlock off before curfew. I need to get in here. If the soldiers find us, they won't.
Okay. Nie da rady chyba, nie?
Impossible. I'm sorry.
I need to get...
I'm looking for a place. Something like a pharmaceutical warehouse. Would you know anything about that?
I don't really know. There's a small medical center just outside the city limits. I suppose you mean that, right? They built it in a hurry, just knocked it together, after the Great Wave. No one really knows what it's for, but there are vehicles going in and out of the place all the time. Whatever they're doing in there, they're keeping it very secret. Not even my daughter would tell me what goes on inside.
Did you say your daughter?
Yes, my daughter. My little Uma.
Uma.
She works there as a nurse.
Święta.
I'm afraid she left me.
Wiedźmina.
I suppose she got tired of living with a frail, sick old man like me. Because one day she simply left the house, and I haven't seen her since. It's been months now. I think she was right to leave me. These times are hard enough. You don't want to burn yourself with someone like me.
I'm sorry. I can't help you.
Help me, please.
Chwilka. Bo ja chcę widzieć właśnie. Okej, lecimy dalej. Coś ja tutaj... Plakat. Co to robi? Okay.
Tomorrow comes today. There's something about the composition that's strangely familiar to me. Some memory related to my former life, perhaps? Or maybe it's just a memory glitch caused by the Great Wave.
Okej. Tak, spróbujemy tam pójść do tego czegoś.
Send us a sign, Lord. We need a sign from you.
Hey, wait a minute. I know that voice.
Are we guilty of arousing your rage? Did we do it? Speak with your tongue of fire, Lord. Purge us with unrelenting justice. Send us a sign. Is this our doing? Are you punishing us for our arrogance? Unleash your thunderous voice, Lord. Release us from this intolerable uncertainty. Did we do it? Send us a sign.
I'm getting a strong impression that man's a fanatic and a little bit deranged. But his sermon made me curious. What could he mean by, we did it?
Illuminate us with your fiery voice, Lord. Send us a sign.
Kawałki szkła na pewno. O, coś do rzeźby. Jest tam przytegowane.
Did we do it? Are we
The catastrophe
guilty
caused a
ones?
lot of damage to the statue's pedestal. The fact that the statue is still standing is a miracle. The pedestal definitely wobbles when I...
Did we do it? Are we
Kurde.
the guilty ones?
Oh no. It's starting again. It's amazing. Everything's changing. Everything. Everything is mutating. I don't understand.
Czekaj, a jak?
Hanging up this poster.
Zrobimy
I don't think doing
te odłamki
use this
szkła.
here. I'm not going to interrupt him in the middle of his sermon.
The lion above the flame.
O, a coś tu jest?
Let's see. I'm afraid I'm
Zacznijmy.
hanging up this.
Może
I don't think I wouldn't know what was for subway. I
Dobra,
imagine
nie ma sensu. Coś tam może iść. Można iść. O, dobra. Jakiś włas.
so. Let's see. Impossible. It's not that it's super heavy. It's that there's hardly any place to insert your fingers to lift this manhole cover.
Tabliczka z wiadomością wstawię. Aha, okej.
You can smell these dead creatures. I have no intention of picking up those rotten fish with my hand.
Okej. Coś tutaj?
This entrance is reserved for authorized motor vehicles.
Aha. U.
What the hell? Those savages don't, at least on foot. A piece of wood with a handwritten sign. Closed, judging from the handwriting, and I assume the author of...
A czekaj. Można?
I'm afraid I can't do that.
A tutaj?
This plank does...
O, kurde.
It doesn't look like it.
Bo zawsze wiem, że
I don't-
do wszystkich achievementów, czyli
Hanging up this poster...
tych... Czekaj, a może z nimi coś pogadam? Jeszcze?
Can I ask you...
Sure, can't you see?
What goes on inside that church?
No,
Has
właśnie.
everyone gone completely crazy?
Are you referring to the pastor and his flock? Oh, don't pay too much attention to them. Reverend Blake is a good man. He helped a lot of people after the Great Wave. But he gradually started to lose his mind until he reached the state he's in now.
Well, I stopped by once or twice to listen to him preach. The days are long. You have to find something to do. I try to go at this time of day. There are fewer people because it's almost curfew time. The Reverend seems obsessed with that atmospheric phenomenon in the sky, and with religious themes of guilt and repentance. Although I think he's actually just talking about himself. But the most surprising thing about all this is that he has hundreds of followers. And he's attracting more and more all the time from all over the city. And they even let him into the refugee camp once in a while to preach there. People adore him.
Why does that surprise you? We've been following sane leaders since time began. And look where that got us. Maybe it's time to start following the crazier ones.
Well, that's the most sensible thing I've heard you say all day.
Okay.
Atmospheric phenomenon? Are you referring to the gash in the sky? In the camp, no one knows what it is.
On this side of the fence, the authorities have come up with their own scientific term: atypical controlled turbulence in the upper ionosphere. Though I suppose that's just a fancy way of telling us that they have no idea what the hell it was that split the sky in two after the Great Wave.
It makes my blood run cold when that aberration starts to grind out that noise like a piece of rusty machinery.
I wish those scrambled little clouds up there were the worst of our problems, dear.
Oh, shut up.
Okej, dzięki.
Thanks for the...
Thanks for the company.
I don't quite see how I could... They
Może.
were... This plank doesn't quite fit anywhere. The traffic in this part of the city must have been especially heavy, but now you can barely hear the sound of the few army vehicles still circulating in the surrounding areas. The ruins of...
The
Spróbujmy
ruins
jeszcze
of
raz
the
tu
temple,
pójść.
the lion above the flames. We still have time.
Let's see. If I wedge one of the ends of the plank under the statue's pedestal, the other part will rest directly on the base of the toppled
The
column.
ruins of the temple,
No.
the lion above the flames.
Aha.
We still have time.
The catastrophe caused a lot of damage to the statue's pedestal is a miracle.
A to?
We're waiting, Lord. Did we do it? Illuminate us. Send us a sign with your just and vengeful arm. Is this our fault?
Uciul. Czekaj. Uciul, Bary.
Listen! It's the fiery breath of God. The Lord has sent us his sign. And I was right. It is all our fault. We did it, and we have aroused his fury.
But what the hell's going on here?
Look, that's the sign. Forgive us, Lord. Forgive us. Repent, all ye sinners.
It's the atmospheric phenomenon I've been hearing so much about. That infernal sound coming from the crack in the sky. It's terrifying.
That is the sign. We did it. Forgive us, Lord. Forgive us. My children, God has spoken to us with his darkest voice. Haven't you heard him? But there's still time. All is not lost. We still have time. Salvation lies in the place where it all began, in the ruins, at the source. We must return to the ruins of the temple. We must return. We must.
Zdechnął?
Well, look at that. Next to this enormous hunk of glass, the colored glass shards I picked up earlier look ridiculous. I'd better get rid of them.
Pogadajmy z nim.
Hello. I heard your sermon and...
Yeah, God has shown us his sign. He has finally spoken to all of us. With his thunderous voice, he has revealed the unknown. We did it. It's all our fault. We did it. But there's still time. All is not lost. There's still time to avoid
Nie,
it.
właśnie
The head of the lion above the flame.
odczytać te napisy w tej grze, czy nie?
To everything.
Bo myślę, że chyba tak.
But what is it we did?
Time is the will of God. It is his heart and his hammer. The centuries and the ages belong solely to him. The celestial empire is a divine clock. Time rotates around God. Its hands are his angels and archangels. Now I see it all clearly. How could we have been so stupid? Our arrogance had enraged him. That's what we did.
This man is definitely crazy. Nothing he says makes any sense.
I beg you, leave my brother in peace. He's very upset.
We did what? I'm sorry, but I didn't understand a word you just said.
We sullied his name. We didn't know that each second is a drop of Christ's blood, and that only he can reign over the interval, over the infinite mysticism of the fragment. Only he can reign over time with his incandescent omnipotence, and we were unable to see it. And now he is enraged, and we're to blame. That's what we did.
I still don't understand what it is we did.
Each cycle is a fluorescent gust of God's will, don't you see? Can't you see it?
Yeah.
He reigns over the days and the hours from the inscrutable luminescence of his dwelling place. And we are just instants that slip through his fingers. Time is his, and his alone. And we tried to wrest it from him. That's what we did.
But what is it we did?
Time is the will of God. It is his heart and his hammer. The centuries and the ages belong solely to him. The celestial empire is a divine clock. Time rotates around God. Its hands are his angels and archangels. Now I see it all clear. That's what we...
Dobra.
What signs are you referring to?
The dark angels of God clamor madly through the open wound that is bleeding the kingdom of heaven dry. Haven't you heard? They were speaking with a thunderous voice. God is furious.
There.
That is his sign.
I suppose in his delirium, the man has mistaken that strange sound coming from the gash in the sky left by the great wave as a sign from the heavens. He's definitely lost his mind.
Please be so kind as to leave us in peace. Can't you see that my brother is very agitated?
I assume you're referring to the atmospheric phenomenon in the sky caused by the great wave.
No, no! It's the stench of human arrogance that made the gears of the gates of hell grind. And now they're opening up like a festering wound to swallow us all. Can it be that you haven't heard it? That is his sign.
Excuse me, but I don't think that was a divine sign.
We've lacerated the sacred skin of the shroud God enveloped us in. We've betrayed him. We've stabbed him with our infinite arrogance. And you can see the mark etched on the heavens. Through that gash, Lucifer has shattered our name from on high. Satan is calling each and every one of us by name. Can't you hear it?
Yeah.
That is his sign.
Tell me, what is it that we can still prevent?
The wrath of God, the destruction of man. There's still time. We did it, but we still have time. The key is in the ruins of the temple. We have to find the ruins of the temple. Look for the head of the lion above the flames. Bring me the head of the lion above the flames while there's still time.
But this church is already in ruins. It hardly has any walls or a foundation left. You're already in the ruins of the temple.
No, you're mistaken. Bring me the head of the lion above the flames.
That's enough. Stop tormenting my brother. He's exhausted.
The head of the lion above the flames? That sounds
może
absurd.
być.
It makes no sense.
Okay, chyba
I
już
think
lepiej.
it's best that I leave.
Yes, leave.
There's still time. Bring me the head.
Okej, jakaś głowa. Dobra. Spróbuję mu może.
Use this here?
Coś do przecięcia to będzie zapewne. Tak myślę. Dobra.
What for? I'd only end up breaking the glass, or even cutting my hand with it.
Tu na pewno też nic. A tu? Może nimi coś jeszcze pogadamy?
Can I ask you a few questions?
Sure, can't you?
No, nie ma sensu.
Thanks.
I need
Też nie ma.
I'm sorry.
help me.
Best not to waste time. I prefer to hold on to it. The entire world is... I'm afraid I can't do that. Best not to waste time trying to...
A mamy coś jeszcze tutaj z tym? Chyba nic. Chyba nic. Czekaj. Wszystko point and click. Dobra, tutaj też.
What for? Cutting my... It's not that secure, but I need something... I don't quite see how...
Coś do oderwania. Potrzebuję, widzę.
I'm afraid I'm not...
No gołymi łapami tego się nie zrobi, tak?
Cutting my hand.
Też to nic.
So,
Nie,
let's see.
chyba nic za nie zrobimy. Aha. Co dalej nie zrobimy nic. Na dół coś można iść. Aha. Dobra, to fajnie, fajnie, żeśmy sobie poszli. O. Czekaj. Czy tutaj coś możemy zrobić?
The cables.
A tutaj?
It doesn't seem like... Scratch beside... The entire...
Chyba nie ma sensu. No właśnie.
From top... Those... The ruins of it... I can't help staring at this poster. It's as if there's some hidden message in the background of the image that I'm incapable of processing. What the hell is so familiar to me about this image? Tomorrow...
A już mam pomysła.
For now, I have no interest in tearing up this poster. For now,
Też nie.
scratching the glass with the nails. Besides, I hate the squeaky sound.
Ta...
Better not.
A co to właśnie mogę tutaj... Nie, to nie ma sensu. No czekaj. Spróbujemy jeszcze raz może.
Those goons.
A za szybą.
Better not. What for? Cutting my hand with.
Super. To więcej też nic nie zrobię. Szkoda, że właśnie nie ma kogoś na czacie.
What was formerly the entrance to a subway stop is now a bunker. Subway service suspended. I imagine the train tunnels were flooded. A metal sign bolted to the wall. And from what I can see, one of the edges is slightly detached. It's not that securely attached to, but I need something stronger to tear this sign.
Tak, pójdę do niej.
Better not. I have no.
Did you?
No.
Then get out of my sight and don't come back. There'll be.
Yes.
Dobra, to nie ma sensu właśnie. Wypadł stąd. Tak, tu.
I'm not going to give it to anyone. The entire.
Czekaj, a z tym plakatem?
I prefer to hold on to it. Can I ask you?
Sure, can't you?
Dobra, to nie ma sensu też. Jak tutaj pójdziemy?
Excuse me.
Dobra, nie ma
Tell
sensu.
me.
Kurwa, przecież...
The head. I think it.
Yeah.
A,
The disordered pews of the church.
czekaj, jakbym...
I'm afraid I can't. The entire. This.
Mam pomysł. Ja też nie.
Cutting my hand with it. Now, I realize that the architecture of this place. I don't think I like.
No i dupa. Chwilowo naprawdę nic nie ma co zrobić. Jakby tak powiedzieć.
The park is closed down, and the front gate is locked shut. If I want to get in there, it won't be through the gate.
Nie, cofnij.
This entrance.
What the heck?
No właśnie.
Those savages don't. At least on foot. What for? I'd only end up cutting my hand. Use this here? Best not to.
A, może...
A buccal in its state. Southside Park. This must be the famous suicide park I've been. Huh. The pun is as witty as it is macabre. I don't think I'd.
A ze szkłem coś też on się...
What for? Cutting my.
Nie, też nie, kurde.
I'm afraid. What for? Cutting my.
Jeju, płyn.
Best not to wait. I don't.
I właśnie jest trudno. No. Gdzie jest ten kod? Tu, dobra.
It doesn't seem like. The entire world. I don't see. The nails that held up the sign announcing the closure of Suicide Park, they're incredibly rusty. But considering the epidemic of the dissolved, tetanus is the least of my worries at the moment. A hard, thick piece of glass, and it has a very, very sharp point.
Czym ja mogę ten właśnie... czy ja mogę...
What for? Cutting my...
Aha. To... Chwila. Dobra. Chwila. Ja tu trochę przeczytam sobie, o co tu mniej więcej chodzi. Nie czaję. Kurwa, nie to, co chciałem kliknąć. No, to jest Jezus Maria.
What cutting my... I refuse to touch that repulsive mess and put it in my pocket. It's absolutely putrid. I don't think I'd gain...
Kurwa. Naprawdę nie czaję. Aha. O to chodziło.
I'll do this very carefully, so that the glass doesn't break in two. Perfect. The hole I've dug is big.
Okay.
You can smell. I have no.
Jak wezmę to w papier.
Hanging up this.
Dalej. Okay.
Good God. There are dozens, hundreds of corpses hanging from the branches. What could have drawn all these people here? What kind of pain? These are the corpses of ordinary people who were living their ordinary lives in their ordinary little worlds up to a very short time ago. Could any of them have imagined meeting an end like this back then? Forgotten and nameless, swaying in the breeze like marionettes. And all those savages in uniforms did was close the park. They didn't even bother to cut their bodies down from the trees. I'm afraid that tonight, there are too many dark stars to count in Suicide Park.
O kurwa.
One of the many, although the crows, from what's left,
A co tu jest?
the trees and bushes are so close together here that I'm not going to be able to open.
Kurwa.
Wait a minute. That guy is the suicide victim who was hanging from this tree. No, don't do it, please. No! Good God. I saw him hang himself.
O kurde. Okej. Dobra.
But considering how heavy this, I'm not sure that brute force is. I'm not going to give it to any. A chain with a. Let's not waste any.
Mam pomysł. Bo jeśli ja mam crowbar.
Maybe with the help of the crowbar.
No właśnie. Jeśli mam łom, to mogę sobie wziąć to.
Damn it!
Dobrze.
I've managed to tear it down, but the subway sign is broken in two. Why would I want to do something like that? It's useless. The subway. I doubt. Can I ask you?
Can't you?
Dobra, nie ma sensu. Pogadam z nim może.
I need to get in here.
Okay.
This if I need if
Czekaj, a.
Impossible. I'm sorry. I can't.
I need
I'm sorry.
help.
No czekaj, a jak damy?
I'm not going to give the rope to. I'm afraid I can't.
A jak zrobię?
I agree that I'm not sure that brute force is going to help me open this door.
A z tym?
I doubt I'd.
A mam pomysła. Pójdziemy do... Wielebnego, że tak to powiem.
Frankly, I don't think that this is the sun.
Dobra, mam God told me to... No właśnie, i to był jeden z...
I'd rather the new. It doesn't seem.
No.
It took a lot. I'm not going to get.
A czekaj, a jeśli...
It doesn't look like a...
Oj. Założona ta gra. Czekaj, to było tu? Tak. Właśnie widziałem
Okay.
na internecie, że gościu robił to.
Got it. Let's see. I'm sure that if I tug on it a little... Good. The upholstery came off along with one of the elastic bands that was holding it to the seat.
Co to jest?
It serves its purpose to a T. Well, I'd better... That wouldn't serve any... This scrap... I can't use... I don't...
Okej. Dobra, już wiem, o co chodzi. Nie, tak trochę będę musiał pooglądać filmiki. Teraz tak, to niby...
This quilted fabric fits the size of the window perfectly. A dirty window at ground level for ventilation. I've placed a seat cover... I've placed a seat cover over it. I could tie the rope there, but what for?
A jak zrobię?
Okay, let's try this. And let's cross our fingers that the seat cover absorbs the noise of the breaking glass. If the soldiers next door find me, they'll blow my head off without bothering to ask questions.
No. Dobrze.
You've done it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm safe now. God bless you, stranger. You saved my life.
Take care of yourself, old man. And I don't have to tell you, don't open the door to strangers.
Czekaj, ja mogę tam wejść?
This house...
Może...
I don't quite see... I doubt I'd accomplish any...
Mamy. To za to. Co można z nożycami do metalu zrobić? Już wiem gdzie. Kurwa. Zapewne tak się domyślam.
Use this here?
No dobra, to ja. Ale... Mam innego pomysłu. Może tak. Zobaczymy z tym.
Let's see what's on the other side of this.
No, please, these visions. My head.
You won't get any of his things. I won't allow it. Do you hear me?
Michael, is that you? Thank God we found you. It's me, Chris. Don't you recognize me? But there is a solution, Michael. All is not lost. There is still a possibility of salvation for us. For each and every one of us.
You have to stop this, Michael. You have to quit.
I can't do it.
It's destroying us, don't you see? It's killing us.
It's that demon inside me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Whoa.
These visions are getting more intense all the time. The pain is unbearable. Who's Chris? Salvation is still possible, he said. Could that be true? And once again, that female voice has been haunting me since I woke up. Who is she? Why was she so distressed? What the hell happened to us? What is going to happen to us?
Dobra, idziemy dalej. Co jest? A jak elastyczne?
Forget it. By the sound of it, there must be a massive... I'd only manage to fry myself.
Czekaj, a jeśli...
Despite the condition of the bolt, but it's metal. And there must be... I'd end up frying myself.
No,
I don't think doing... Even if I... Forget it. I'd only manage...
tutaj właśnie coś jest. Tylko... nie wiadomo o co tu chodzi dokładnie w tym momencie.
Forget it. I don't...
Też nie. Aha. A linka?
I'd only end up frying myself.
Też nic.
Forget it. I don't... Touching the electrified fence with... Touching the electrified fence...
Też nic.
From here I have... In truth, the vegetation...
Spróbujmy jeszcze może coś.
I'd only manage...
Nie wiem, chwilowo. A czekaj, a jak? Właśnie.
As dead as that tree is, it's...
Okej.
I can't reach it. Before I go down, I'll leave the heavy stuff in case the rope doesn't support...
No.
Underneath the surface, there must be many more... No doubt that the remains of it... It seems like a small fragment of one of them is loose.
Co mam? Już mam tą głowę, chodziło o to chyba mu. No.
The head of the lion above the flames. I think this must be yours.
The head of the lion! The head of the lion above the flames! The ruins of the temple still exist. Salvation is still possible. We can prevent it. We can still prevent it. Don't you understand? The annihilation of time. The wrath of God for our arrogance. There's still time. I have to return to the ruins of the temple. I have to go back to the ruins of the temple.
Wait a minute! Whew. There's no question in my mind. This man is a complete lunatic.
Aha. Patyk. Kij w kształcie czego?
Reverend Blake's cross. A stick with a...
Czy ja nie będę masła? Nie. No nie będę miał. Musiałem się poradzić. Że tak to powiem. Nie tym, nie tu. Okay.
So, let's see. I just made a primitive homemade slingshot.
Chłopcy.
Hello, Michael.
Hi, kids.
We got Mom out of the house. Now what about that reward?
Yes. I think I have something you might like. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. They're just kids, but their aim is amazing.